listening to the Live the Dream Media Network, Arizona's premier live podcast studio and online radio.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Southwest Flavor. I'm your host, Ron Arenas. We are here at Live the Dream Media in beautiful Marana, Arizona, and it is December 17th. I'd like to have a shout out to my mom. It is her birthday today. Yeah. Can't do anything out without your mom. No. And today we'll be talking with Dr. Jesus Bernal of Mueve Flex.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. How you doing today?
Doing terrific. It's great to be here.
Yeah, good. So we're talking off camera about how busy of a schedule you have for these last couple days before Christmas.
Yeah. No, it's been pretty exciting. This week in particular, I've been kind of go, and I think I told you a little bit about it, from Chabela's softball tournaments to Fermin's jiu-jitsu, and so there was always something going on.
Yeah.
Work, community events, the lung walk, and just so many things.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that you're involved with that also.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of stuff going on. And so I packed up this week solid so that Friday I could get out of town right before Christmas. So
good.
That's it. Yeah.
Excellent. It was good. We had lunch yesterday. We had that networking lunch, a real small networking lunch with some of our close friends. And
yeah, I loved being a part of that, Ron.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, and again, you say, oh, your week is busy, whatever. But having been at your new place, man, it's just, and seeing everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And I have a little bit of knowledge of what's required. A lot of people don't know in terms of a new building or a build out and all the things that have to happen. And so
there's a lot of steps in there.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of steps.
And it looks beautiful too.
Well, thank you.
Like when I saw the big garage area, it looks so nice. And so when you mentioned that you guys had done so much work, I could see the different steps that were taken.
Yeah.
So but aside from all that, I was thinking this morning when I was at the gym, I thought, freaking Ron, man. And I heard part of what one of your previous podcasts, they were saying, how do you have time for all this?
Oh.
And then you said,
that was probably one of the Steves, either Steve Rivera.
Yeah. But I thought it was so cool. And it was like the perfect compliment to hear that this morning. From being at your shop yesterday, because again, we hang out at a lot of places. We go biking, and we go to do all these different events, networking. And so seeing that you're doing all that work and that you're so freaking hospitable and you still have a smile on your face, man, it was so nice. And thank you, by the way. I think I told you thank you already, but I want to make sure I say it again.
Yeah.
It's just, you're so hospitable, so friendly, so hardworking. And most people that are that hardworking, when somebody's really that busy, you don't see them being that way. Usually somebody that's working hard, they're like, they're on the grind. And that's awesome. That's admirable.
Yeah.
But they're not as amicable and hospitable as you. So I commend you. That's freaking amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. You know what? It brings me pleasure just to be surrounded by my friends. Whether it's doing podcasts, whether it's networking, or just having lunch together, or biking, mountain biking, cycling, that's pretty much family and friends is everything.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And see, again, maybe I know that your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah.
But to me, it stands out even more. I love what you do, and I think it's so great. And to see the continuous growth, and again, even the conversation we had about the trip that you took out of town, because I've mentioned that to a few people already. And I'm
really?
Yeah. No, because I think it's awesome. I mean, it's one of those things that, and again, I want to be very careful how I say this, because my dad might be watching the podcast, or he might be on Facebook Live right now.
Okay.
But I have a great deal of respect and gratitude for my dad. He is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, role models for me.
Right.
And he comes from very humble beginnings. And he comes from the idea that, put it like this. He handles everything in such an amazing way in his head.
Right.
So if you tell
Okay.
him, so your business plan, he says, it's right here. And you can't argue with him
Right.
because he came from like severe poverty to owning restaurants and businesses and properties
Wow.
and raising 3 kids. Well, 2 of them, my sisters, excellently. Me, sorry that I disappointed you, Dad, but all 3 college graduates.
Wow.
Even with postgraduate degrees. So
Were the 3 kids the first to graduate from college in the family?
the first kid was the first one to graduate from college out of the extended family.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. And I believe I was the first to graduate from graduate school too when I
Okay.
earned my doctorate degree. Out of the whole, no cousins, no aunts, no uncles had ever graduated
Wow.
from college ever. And so that's pretty awesome.
It is. You guys are setting the standard.
Yeah. At the same time, though, again, it's kind of hard, or it was a challenge for me when I would meet other entrepreneurs or business people, and they would say, "You really ought to tap into this SBA, blah blah blah, or this, business strategy, whatever."
Right. There's a lot of unknowns out there.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, for what, Or like if you were to ask my dad, well, what's your marketing budget? And my dad would say, marketing budget's marketing budget, And but he did well. I'm grateful. I think he set a solid foundation. So
Right.
now it's my job to build upon that. And going back to what you did, now I am in a position where I love learning and I love, kind of finessing and fine-tuning the intricacies of business, and I'm
Yeah.
not there yet. Don't misunderstand me. Even with this new venture that I'm on right now,
No one's there yet. It's a work in progress. It
Yeah.
really is. You
Yeah.
have to keep learning every day
yeah,
and get better. You have
No.
to be better today than you were yesterday.
and that's my goal. That's
Yeah.
actually one of my mantras. I just got to be better today than I was yesterday, and then I'm solid.
Right.
But again, I love hearing those things. Or again, yesterday you heard one of our conversations because we were talking about like, well, what book are you reading now?
Yeah.
And so then it came up, and I'm reading this book, but it's part of this group that I do where we consult with fellow business people in the same field, and I love that because I'm a believer in collaboration more than competition. Unfortunately, I'm a fierce competitor sometimes, but I love collaboration, and
Yeah.
I love healthy competition.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
there's
love
nothing
that.
wrong with healthy competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we see that just in cycling too.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're a team, but we're all kind of competing against each other.
Yep.
Just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's healthy, and we'll pick each other up and we'll help each other.
Yeah.
But we all want to have the best time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So yeah, that's what I see, and those are some of the things that drive me. The idea of the attempts of constant, never-ending improvement. The idea of empowering and bringing those around you to kind of grow as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And
You want to surround yourself with people that lift you up.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to do the same. That brings a responsibility. If you're bringing in people that lift you up, you have to also lift them up.
Yeah.
It has to be a relationship.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So were you always a good student? Like in high school, were you a good student?
You know
I
what?
wasn't. I mean, honestly, I wasn't at all. I didn't have any interest in education till after high school.
Well, I always liked learning, always, since I was very little. And the challenge for me is that I think I learn relatively quickly. And I think in my dad being so confident himself, he instilled in me this really strong sense of self-esteem and confidence that I sometimes let run wild.
Right.
And so that self-confidence would get me in trouble sometimes.
Yeah.
And so at Tucson High, for example, because
Right.
I know we're fellow Badgers.
Yep.
At Tucson High, I got in trouble a couple of times, and my grades were good.
Oh, okay.
No problem with grades. But the challenge was that I would sometimes finish my work, do my thing, and then sort of become bored and disruptive. And so that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I got into a little bit of trouble. But again, I managed to graduate well, thank God, and go from there. So again, I think it's a constant learning process. But I love it, and so I've always loved learning. I've always loved teaching too,
Oh,
which is sort of cool and sort of entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you always had a passion for health and wellness? Could you share a little bit about, as a younger person that you started on your journey through the health and wellness profession?
Well, I think my dad's mom, my nana, she was very traditional, very healthy, never really junk food, always home cooked food. And even when there was like health issues, there would always be home remedies. And so I love that. So I think that was the beginning of it. Then right out of high school, I had an experience with a friend whose sister was a doctor and was in LA, and their mom was here in town in Tucson. And so the mom was not feeling well. The daughter said, well, can you just do some things to my mom? Maybe do some pressure points, whatever.
Okay.
And I said, sure, I don't know. And back in the day, that was 30 years ago, we, didn't have FaceTime or any of those things.
Right.
So it was just on the phone, literally with the spiral cord still attached to it. And I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead, tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And so she told me what to do. I did some kind of, manual therapies or just some pressure points. The lady felt super grateful. I guess she got a lot of relief. And so my friend and her sister said, oh my gosh, you have to be a doctor. You have to go to school. You have a healing touch, blah, blah, blah. And then that was the beginning of my career in the health and wellness field. I just, from there, I started taking some prerequisites and subsequently went to Dallas, Parker University, got my doctorate, and went from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of interesting how things work. Just little moments that just shape your life.
Right, right. And the people that come into your life,
Right.
There's moments and there's people, and you're like, there had to be a purpose there, that had to be kind of planned.
Well, check it out. And it's funny that you say that. See, I love that we have so much in common, because that's how I think too. I'm like, hey, what are the odds of something like that happening? And in that way, when I finally was kind of like forced to, take my education more seriously, and I'm wondering how much I should divulge, because I don't want to incriminate myself too much. But hopefully whoever's watching the podcast or listening will take my mistakes, or in Spanish, a mistake is an error, like an error.
Okay.
But the way that I've been told is that they say, you don't make errores, you make horrores, which is horrors.
Oh.
So, luckily I've been so blessed that some of my mistakes have been really, really big blessings and really, really strong learning experiences.
Yeah.
But going back to the blessings, when I was right out of high school, I was seeing this young lady. We were not married or anything, and she got pregnant. And again, I'm not saying this with pride. On the other hand, I'm embarrassed of the fact that I did things so out of order. But then not even a year later, there was another young lady pregnant from me. So that really shocked me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get serious. So that's when I really started literally hitting education hard. I said, I really do have to become a doctor. I have to go to school. So I did that. I finished my education. And that was the big push. But check this out, where that lady comes in that I first did treatments on. When I applied to graduate schools, I applied to LACC, which is where that young lady had been trained at Los Angeles Chiropractic College. I also applied at Life, and there was a college in Rhode Island that sent me a scholarship because I had pretty good tests. But Parker University in Dallas, Texas, really got me, because Dr. Parker himself, the founder of the university, said something like, at Parker University, we teach based on the love concept, and we teach you because we love you because of who we are. Regardless of who you are or what you've done, we love you because we practice the love concept. And so that kind of hooked me.
That's different.
So then I went to Parker University. I got accepted. I had to take some accelerated courses at a junior college before I finally got, admitted fully. But I moved to Dallas, and about 2.5 hours north of Dallas is Sherman, Texas.
Okay.
And Jeannie, the lady who I had first done like a hands-on treatment based on directions over the phone, lived in Sherman, Texas. So it was kind of amazing how that worked out because I was at school being, full of family, friends, and everything here, Tucson High, Pima, U of A, all that kind of fun stuff. And then I happened to work at the radio station, at a TV station. So I was always at community events.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Okay.
And so I was over there like in complete solitude. I knew absolutely no one. And for those of you that have not lived in Texas or that don't know a lot about Texans, when they say it's a republic and when they say that they're kind of like their own place, they mean it.
Yeah.
If you're an outsider, if you don't say y'all or things like that, it's a very different situation.
Okay.
So being so homesick and lonely and just overwhelmed with so much schooling, it was awesome having Jeannie. She would actually drive down because I sold my car to be able to pay for my apartment because I had to have like money in the bank and things like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I didn't have a car when I first moved up there, and so Jeannie would drive down from Sherman, Texas to Dallas, pick me up for the weekend, and her husband would host me up there in Sherman, Texas. They would like cook and stuff like that, and it was like the little bit of respite, like a breath of fresh air. It was like it bring me back to life from being so lonely and 1,000 miles away from home.
Yeah.
So again, you say, funny how things work out, but that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, you didn't know anyone there. How long were you there? A couple years?
No, I was there 4 years.
You were there 4 years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The end of 96 to 2000, the beginning of 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated December 1999.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. And you decided to come back home after that? You had enough of Dallas? Or?
No. I again, and see, I don't know how personal I should get on this podcast, but a couple of things that are super important. I told you there was a couple young ladies that now had, that I had fathered children with, and I was having a grand old time up there. Because of my experience in radio and television here in Tucson as a high school and junior college student, I was able to get jobs at a TV station and a radio station up in Dallas too.
Okay.
So that was awesome. But now since I had a doctorate degree, I was like a health expert for a television network that covered from Dallas all the way down to Houston and even north of Nuevo León, like Monterrey. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was on that, and I would give like health tips and alternative health solutions for common health problems. And so that was awesome. And then I would be on a Tejano station, Kick FM, and I would work that on the weekends. So it was a lot of fun, but my guilty conscience was messing with me. And so I said, man, I got to get back home to my family and try to work things out with my kids and things like that. And so that's what I did. I came back. But I, in retrospect, I know I should have done things a lot more intelligently, like maybe either save up some money or do things in a different way, maybe take some business courses. I have a really good buddy that's a plastic surgeon. And what he did is right out of graduate school, just a few years after practicing medicine, he went and got his master's degree, an MBA. And so I think that helped him a lot with his practice and his business. Yeah. And I did. And I literally came back, got my Arizona doctor's license, my chiropractor's license, and I set up a shingle in a small room in the back of a beauty salon.
Oh,
and
okay.
And so it was my uncle's beauty shop. So that's where I started. And I started working to the point that all the seats in his waiting room were
for you. Yeah.
So luckily I hustled. And again, going back to the idea of doing things kind of Bernal Senior style. And I didn't have credit. I didn't want to go to SBA. I had, a bunch of debt accrued and I had no experience, but I had heart. And so I talked to a gentleman and he sold me a building, carried the note.
Oh,
and
wow.
So that was awesome. And I actually did that a few times.
Okay.
So it worked out. But anyways,
Yeah.
that's how it was. That's how I came back and I started working and growing and it worked out for about 20 some years. I loved it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We're going to take a small break right now and thank our sponsors, and we will be back with Southwest Flavor.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair. My drains were clogged. I was really in despair. So I called some guy. You've never seen such a mess. And every time he leaned over, well, you can probably guess. Now I get it done right by Picture Rocks Cooling. They're neat and clean, peachy keen. Really no fooling. Got a problem? Just call up and help is coming. Picture Rocks Cooling, heating and plumbing.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with the tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
Hello, welcome back to Southwest Flavor. We're talking with Dr. Jesus Bernal.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here. I
Yeah,
love this.
thank you.
I love the kind of freestyle conversation.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's all about. I
Theme.
mean, the podcasts are, there's a lot of podcasts that have a direct theme, but there's also podcasts that just kind of do that free, flow.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's a conversation. It's genuine. And it's two friends talking like, we're at the coffee shop.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
Yeah. Which we've been together 3 times this week already.
Yeah, that's cool. I love it.
We had our little Christmas party for the Old Pueblo mountain biking group, which there was 50, 60 people there. That was tremendous.
Yeah, it
that
was a
fun.
great turnout.
Yeah.
Good quality people. I love that. It was very nice.
It is. And, a couple of people have mentioned on the post, but, I just want to say it again, that there is so many different people there from different religions, ethnic backgrounds, political stances, and we all just come together and mountain bike together, and lift each other up, help each other when we need it, just go out there and have fun.
Yes, and I think that's the sentiment that is expressed and demonstrated by everybody there, because you're right. There's many cultures, many age groups, which again,
there is.
And it's funny because again, I got my grays and I'm fighting aging every step of the way. The whole thing about doing it gracefully is hard for me to accept.
There's a bunch of young guys that ride with us that are half our age. They are our kids' ages.
Yeah, exactly. No, they really are.
They are.
They really are. But I love it because again, they're respectful.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important to me because that's the way I was raised, to be respectful to my elders. And but yet they're easygoing and still get to be themselves. I love that.
Yeah.
And yet the older people, I get the sense that because obviously you and I are not the oldest people there,
right?
But even the older ones, I think that they have an open-mindedness to not judge some of the antics of the younger people, or some of those of us that are kind of stuck in the middle, because we're not the young kids, but we're not the elders there either.
Yeah.
So I love that kind of coming together. I love it.
It is. It's awesome. Yeah. So just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, no, it was fun.
Yeah, it was. So you own Mueve Flex, which is a stretch clinic.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, let me tell you. So Mueve Flex, it's assisted stretch therapy.
Right.
And many people have no idea. Like one of my favorite clients right now at the clinic says, well, I told my doctor about that you're my stretch therapist, that you're a stretch doctor. And my doctor had no idea.
Honestly, I'd never heard of it before about 3 years ago.
And that's sort of when it kind of came into mass popularity. Now, I wish I knew the name exactly, but there's a gentleman that would go and stretch NFL football players. And again, I'm a little bit embarrassed because I should know the name because he's one of the pioneers of stretch therapy.
Okay.
But he would go to the different NFL teams, particularly, or college football teams in Florida, and he would take these straps and he would strap the players down. And while they're kind of strapped down, he would take a joint, like an arm or a leg, and stretch them past the point of their normal flexibility and make them a little bit more flexible. But what I don't think he knew that now has been studied and discovered is that there's all these sensors that once you go past that regular normal movement within safety, within safe range, you fire off a bunch of nerve receptors. The brain says, oh, I don't have to be stuck in that way anymore.
Okay.
And in addition to that, the joint gets fully lubricated. It's kind of like if you have a door and you only open it a certain way all the time, the hinge will kind of wear a groove out and it'll be hard to open all the way next time. And so many things that happen in terms of improved circulation, improved joint health, decreased pain, improved range of motion, just so many things. And the stretch therapy, I guess you could say, branch of the healing arts has exploded. And there's like so many, there's like national franchises now. And
we've seen a couple of the national franchises come into Tucson.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've gone to all of them. I think every one of them has their advantages. And I love it because they give credibility and they give more of a comfort level to people to say, okay, cool. So stretch therapy is a legitimate method to feel better and to move better, to have better well-being.
Okay.
Now, again, I think it's important to make sure that we clarify. Assisted stretch therapy is an adjunct or an additional complement to regular healthcare. We're not trying to say replace your medical doctor. We're not trying to replace your chiropractor. It's assisted stretch therapy is a means by adding. It's a means to add better well-being, decrease pain, and just improve your quality of life. Now, again, we don't treat conditions. We don't diagnose illnesses or anything like that. But we do work with many doctors. When, say, a client says, "Oh my gosh, I was trying to give this, this patient XYZ medication, and they just, had a severe reaction."
Oh yeah.
So we're trying different things, or this patient is scared to death of cracking their neck if they're going to the chiropractor, but their neck is super stiff. What can we do?
Yeah.
Or just, different things where like somebody says, yeah, massage would be ideal, but, this person maybe is a little bit shy. They have, they don't want to, they have body image situations, so they don't want to get undressed. Or time-wise, when you go to an assisted stretch therapy session, it can last anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes, and in that time, without having to get undressed, without having to go through sudden movements or cracks and pops, you get relief and you get a hands-on session with a practitioner. And, I like the idea because some people say, oh, well, I can stretch myself. But yeah, you could change your oil too, and you could, you could work out by yourself too. But, if you have a personal trainer or if you go to one of those places to do the cart maintenance, you have an expert's eye that can tell you, hey, look, you know what? I did the session here, but this is something you might want to look at, or there's that, bump on your shoulder that it keeps getting bigger. You might want to go have it looked at.
Yeah.
Whereas if, you're just stretching your shoulder yourself to not be so stiff, you might not ever see that or notice it quick enough.
Right. And you do an evaluation.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, no. And again, I mentioned that there's advantages and disadvantages, or there's pros and cons to the different stretch clinics. At Mueve Flex, which is movement and flexibility, what we do is it's a 3-part session when a client first comes in. The first is face-to-face, knee-to-knee consultation, where we go over a brief history. It's not a comprehensive medical evaluation, but we do go over some of the big problems like, hip and joint replacements or different surgeries that might, have an impact on your stretch therapy session. We go over the extent of your current symptoms, like what's happening, how does it hurt, how did it start, what makes it worse. One of the things we find is that sometimes some of the aches and pains we have are influenced or impacted tremendously by your emotional or mental health, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It could go, either way.
I could see that, especially if you get an injury, then you're going to guard that part of the body.
Absolutely.
And then let's say you injure your right knee, you're going to guard that right knee and you're going to start walking different, and you're going to put more pressure on your left hip or your, other ankle or other knee, or, and change the way that you're supposed to be doing things.
Yeah, and get this. And now you see yourself in the mirror, you're not moving as much, so maybe you put on a few pounds.
Yeah.
And now we have, and again, one of the things that I just recently learned too, we have such a tendency to beat ourselves up. If we talked to other people or our friends the way we sometimes talk to ourselves,
we wouldn't have any friends.
We wouldn't have any friends, yeah.
Yeah, we're tough on ourselves.
So we're tough. So now, you hurt your knee, you were afraid to go to the chiropractor, you don't have time to go to the massage therapist. The medical doctor just gives you a prescription for pills, and the minute that the pills wear off, the pain comes back.
Yeah.
So now you're walking funny. You're like, I'll just deal with it. But because you're walking funny, you're not walking as fast. And so now your metabolism slows down. You put on a few pounds. You look in the mirror, you see yourself, and you say, oh my gosh, you're getting fat. Or now it starts affecting your self-esteem. Your wife might say, oh, well, let's go to the, holiday party. And you're like, nah, I don't want to go. And again, for you and I, because we're so confident and, we love everybody and we love ourselves, maybe not a big deal, but imagine...
and your clothes don't fit the same anymore.
A wife, you're inviting your wife somewhere, and a woman that takes care of the house or takes care of the kids now sees, because of that knee pain and her metabolism slowing down, she's putting on a few pounds. She doesn't want to go, so now that starts causing other problems, and it's just a domino effect. It kind of stacks on itself, and so that's why I love what I do in particular, because we, during that first part of the initial consultation, we get to the bottom of it. How are things? What's happening? How do you really feel? How has this knee pain affected you? Well, I can't go for walks down the Santa Cruz River with my husband anymore. Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
That's important.
Right.
Or people that have like animals, they say, well, I used to be able to clean all 10 stables for my horses, and now I do 2, and I have to stop and sit down, and by the time I try to finish all of them, it's dark, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we gauge those things. We say, hey, how many stables did you do yesterday? Oh, I'm up to 6. Oh, good job.
Wow.
We're on it. And so that's what we do, initial consultation. Then after that, we do an assessment where we do head-to-toe assessment to see where there's limits in mobility, where there's restrictions, where there's spasms. We do a digital posture evaluation where we see if somebody is, again, leaning to one side or leaning forward. And then the third part out of that 3-part first session is the problem-focused, hands-on stretch therapy. And it's super effective. We always tell our clients that first session is guaranteed. We have to make sure that if we put our hands on you, you have to feel a difference. You have to feel improvement. You have to feel better posture. You have to be able to breathe easier. There has to be a significant improvement based on that session. And of course, that doesn't mean we help everybody. There are some people that we've had to send out to that pop-up right away. Our one lady who said that all her neighbors on her street have come to see me, so she was sure we were going to help her with that cancer tumor on her hip.
Yeah.
And again, I feel so bad because again, there was one of the ladies on that street on the south side had a huge like a hematoma, like a big like swelling and bruise on the hip, because as she would walk, she would put too much weight on it and it swelled.
Oh,
so as
wow.
we did some corrective exercises,
Yeah.
we did some stretching, we gave her some instructions for ice at home and whatnot. And so her big bump went away.
Yeah.
But the way they perceived it is like, oh my God, Dr. Bernal cures tumors. Dr. Bernal does not cure tumors.
Right.
I just, I just help people move better and feel better. So that's one that's super, super significant. And then there's others that, perhaps have different expectations. Like this gentleman who said, well, yeah, you helped me. And I felt better, but I'm not satisfied. I'm not happy. And so I told him, well, hey, you know what? Tell me what should we have done, or what can we do better?
Yeah.
And he said, well, yeah, you gave me some relief, but you didn't get rid of all my hip pain in one session. So again,
Yeah.
and I respect them.
Yeah.
I told him, hey, well, look, I'm sorry. Although we have helped people in the past with one session and they are, a lot better or relieved, that's not typical.
No,
and
not
and
at all.
And I can't promise that to anybody.
Yeah.
But
It's a process.
yeah, but and
Yeah.
again, and lately what I've done, whenever we do like networking meetings, and I know we're going to talk about that later on in the show and the podcast, but I tell people a good referral for me is send me somebody who is serious about getting healthier and getting relief, and not wanting quick fixes or chasing shortcuts like popping pills.
Right.
That's who I want to help, because if they're serious,
Yeah.
they want to get better. Like they say, I want to play with my grandkids, or they say, you know what, I'm doing pickleball, and all these, freaking people that are older than me are kicking my butt, So I tell them, all right, let's get those hips, more flexible.
Right.
And tight hips don't lie, and we fixed that.
Yeah. That was one of the things that really encouraged me when I started mountain biking is I saw people 20 and 30 years older than me.
See what I mean?
And they would kick my butt.
Yeah.
I used to ride with my pastor's wife and her friend, and they were both about 10 years older than me, and they would go up the mountain,
Like
without any
nothing.
problems. Yeah. And then wait for me. Yeah. Are you coming? That's not a good feeling.
No, hell no. And there's a gentleman, I think you might even know him, because he was like a really popular, and I don't remember his name. I think I'm not sure if it was Jeffrey or what, but he was an avid biker. He was like in his 70s, maybe even 80s. And we're riding over there by the, like in Sahuarita, by the Corona, the Tucson Trail.
Oh, okay.
And I'm riding, and finally I catch up to him with, the rest of the group. And I tell him, I'm like, hey, you know what? That's awesome. I said, when I'm 80, I want to ride just like you. And he looks back at me and he says, try riding like me now.
Oh, wow.
So he was just smoking everybody, you know?
We met a guy at the Fantasy Island Trail, and he was like 83.
Yeah.
And he said, you want to ride with me? I'm going to show you some new trails. I'm like, sure. He says, I'm a little bit slow, so, just, take it easy on me. We're like, all right. He took off, and he had to slow up for us.
Oh, my gosh.
He was 83.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
So, and I tell people, you know what? That's a good referral for me. Somebody that wants better movement, they want to increase their performance, or that they have a purpose.
Right.
When I was practicing as a chiropractor, I would not enjoy doing workers' compensation claims because I felt like I was trapped.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that, workers' compensation is bad or that all cases are like this.
Right.
But in my particular experience with it, I felt I was stuck. I would have the workers that would say, hey, can you give me a couple more days off of work? Just, I know you said 10 days. Can you make it 12 days without work? And I just, again, I didn't feel good about that. But then they get mad at you. Oh, you didn't want to help me out. And so that's rough.
Yeah.
And then if you did happen to say, well, you could probably use a couple more days of rest, then you have managers calling you and say, hey, are you going to get this guy back on the job or what?
Yeah.
What's it going to take for you to get him better?
Yeah.
And there are a few people that are passionate about their work and they want to get back to their job and everything. So that's enjoyable. But the idea is when somebody's serious about getting better, when somebody's serious about moving at their peak potential, they're my favorite people,
Right.
100%. And I tell people, look, the person that wants to pop pills or they want a quick fix or a shortcut, send them to one of the other clinics. You know, don't send them to me because they're probably going to get upset. It's kind of like if somebody would have talked to you and I about like how bikes are the most terrible thing in the world. We're probably not going to have a good conversation.
Sure.
I mean, I'd entertain it for a little bit, but after a while, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? I got a ride to go to. My friends are waiting at the trail.
Right.
So I think that's the way it works out, and that's what differentiates us from other clinics, and that's kind of what Mueve Flex is all about. And I'm happy. I love helping people. I love making a significant impact on a positive way in my community. I really, really enjoy that. And that's what I try to instill in my kids. You know, I tell them,
excellent.
yeah, I tell them all the time. And we see other successful people like you and a few other colleagues that are close friends, and we tell them, wow, see how good they are and see how well they're doing or whatever. And that's awesome because they enjoy that. And you know, we might be able to do something like that too. Like we have a friend and client who does Sonoran hot dogs. And he was telling us about how he just got like a gig for like 10,000 hot dogs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like
And
a catering
yeah,
gig,
like
kind
a
of?
catering,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like it's going to be like 3,000 hot dogs at a time over the next, few weeks.
Yeah.
I think it's for the Air Force Base, so I'm not sure
okay.
what's happening, but they're having different events. And we thought, and my kids are a little bit of number crunchers, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be super profitable or whatever. And I said, yeah, that's awesome. I said, but how do you guys like making like a bunch of hot dogs? And my sisters are the hosts or hostesses in our family.
Okay.
Me again, like for example, going over to your shop yesterday, it felt home. It felt like home because that's what my sisters do. My parents. Me, I'm not much of a hoster. I'll go to a potluck or I'll do it when there's no other choice.
Right.
But I told them, do you guys want to do that? And they're like, oh man, so rolling up all that bacon on those hot dogs
A lot of
and
work,
steaming up all those franks. Yeah. And I said, yeah. But I said, people love that. There's certain people that love, like my daughter draws and she's an artist. My son and I, we sketch. We're like, and my daughter, she's like, you see like what looks like a wolf, and then we're like, oh, it was a pomegranate. But again, she does those little fine details, and she gets into that,
Yeah.
And so again, everybody's got their niche, I think, and
Definitely.
and I love it, and that's what our niche is in the community. I think that's where we fit well. Again, I want to be very clear. We're not trying to replace anything.
Yeah.
And one of the conversations that you and I had is that I don't ever want to get taller or look better because I stepped on somebody else.
Yeah,
Ever. I
right.
think there's a place for everything.
Sure.
There's a place for surgeons. There's a place for medical doctors. There's a place for medications. As you know, I was, in the need of some serious medical care
Right.
recently, and
Yep.
I'm super grateful that we had all those things available. But nonetheless, I think that the majority of the time, a great part of the time, you can get better, stay healthier, function better without all that stuff.
Right.
But you have to make a commitment. You have to make sure that, again, just like your car, you don't say, oh, I'm going to change my car's oil when it breaks down. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what we do with our bodies sometimes.
That's true. Yep. So with that, let's take a sponsor break real quick, and we'll be back with our final segment of Southwest Flavor.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair. My drains were clogged. I was really in despair. So I called some guy. You've never seen such a mess. And every time he leaned over, well, you can probably guess. Now I get it done right by Picture Rocks Cooling. They're neat and clean, peachy keen. Really no fooling. Got a problem? Just call up and help is coming. Picture Rocks Cooling.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with the tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
All right, welcome back to Southwest Flavor. We're talking about health and stretching and all that comes with it. And we also talked earlier a little bit about networking. And I wanted to talk about Hispanic business and growing the Hispanic business. You're down on the southwest side of town.
Correct.
Yeah, so you're right in the middle of that. I mean, that's what's known as a lot of the Hispanic businesses that are in Tucson.
I'm at the hub.
You're at the hub. You are, and you've been involved a lot in trying to grow Hispanic business and through networking events and just reaching out and trying to, all of us work together.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, my passion is to be of service, to be able to connect and make sure that not just me, but those around me grow and prosper. So being on 12th Avenue is, I think, a huge privilege, and being in contact with all those businesses. Like, for example, there's two particular businesses three that I know for a fact that have been on 12th Avenue for like 40 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Same place, same business, same people. And so to be able to be in contact with those people, one of them is Debbie's Hair Salon. The other one is Los Jarritos. Debbie McCormick is the owner and operator of that salon, and we love Debbie. She's such a sweet lady. Also, very much a helper. Literally, you could be a stranger off the street and go in there and say, hey, I need something for car repair. She'd be like, oh, well, go to John up the street and help it.
Right.
Or you could say,
she's referring other businesses all around her.
All around.
Right.
Yeah, she's amazing. Right next door to her is Los Jarritos, and that family has been a part of the community. Well, to give you an idea, when you go to that restaurant, it's a small little restaurant.
Right.
But on the wall, you see pictures with Congress people and the mayor and the owner of the restaurant, and it's super cool. And then the other one that I can think of is Leilani's Hair Salon. Also another lady that's a beautician, and she's a lady that's been in the business and on 12th Avenue for 30-some years as well. So I love that, and I love the fact that their continuity and their consistency and their service and willingness to serve our Southside community has been never ending. So it's awesome. But on a newer level, you have people like the Roman Campuzanos, who used to be with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce,
right,
and has been now involved with the Minority Small Business Alliance of Southern Arizona, and also quite the giver, quite the connector, and one of the key elements of Hispanic business networking in our community. So I love being a part of that. I love being in touch with both new and up-and-coming businesses and the businesses that have been involved for so long. So I love that.
Yeah. And, prosperous businesses in that area just help everyone. It just lifts everyone up.
Of course. And one of the things that I see is that, and again, some people may not see that, that perspective, but look at it like this. If there's a prosperous business next door, even if, and again, I'm going to be silly, but like, let's say you don't need eyelash extensions, or maybe your wife doesn't use them because she's naturally beautiful. But here's the deal. Go buy a freaking gift card from that lady.
Right.
Yeah. And maybe give it to one of your clients, or do a drawing on Facebook, or your mom or your sister, or somebody that that uses it.
Sure.
And what you've done now is that lady might have been on the verge of closing her doors because business is not that good. But when you went and bought that gift card, that extra $50 might have made it so that she can make her rent or pay her bill and keep her doors open. And now an influx of new clients show up and they're like, oh, I was, saving up money to get my lashes. Before you know it, she's doing great. How is she going to make that business look terrific? Because now she's doing well, she's prospering. Next, if that business looks good, who's going to come and graffiti it? Probably nobody. But if it looks abandoned, it might be a different situation. Now, if it doesn't go and get graffitied or whatever, it looks great, whatever, then maybe when somebody goes to Güero Canelo or BK's Hot Dogs or whatever, they might, consider doing business there and say, oh, well, we're here. Let's get our lashes done or whatever.
Yeah.
So on and so on and so forth. But then
so they stay in the area and they spend more money in the area.
And eventually, though, what happens is this, that for people that maybe live in Oro Valley or that live on the east side or Vail, your insurance premiums are not going to keep hiking and spiking up because now there's less crime in the area. Now, some young kid who might have considered breaking and entering or committing a crime to go get their next meal or whatever, their next bit of entertainment, now they'll consider saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I can do a mural for this lady instead of just vandalizing. And now it's just such a positive cycle of good things that happen. And again, yes, I'm sometimes a dreamer. Yes, I know that there's a long, process for those things to happen, but they happen no matter what.
And there's opportunities out there. There really is. And you mentioned murals, and this weekend we took that mural ride. And I guess there's like a website or something that you can look at for the murals in Tucson. But we just touched on like maybe 10 or 12 of them.
Something like that. And it was amazing just seeing the artwork and it's amazing. I loved it. And two things, if I can give a quick tip to the listeners of your podcast and the viewers on all the different channels. If there's two things that I have found, and this is not something that I made up, but I agree, that I have found that help almost any health problem.
Okay.
Number one is fresh air. Okay. Even if you can't get out and you're in a lot of pain, open a window, let fresh air flow through wherever you are. That's going to improve your chances of recovering or maintaining your health at a high degree. And number two is sunlight with care. Okay. But freely exposed sunlight. Now, again, I say with care because I don't want people to say, well, Dr. Bernal said on the, Ron Arena's, Southwest Flavor podcast that sun is good. Now look at me. I am sunburned. No, I'm not saying, be careless. 10 to 15 minutes is plenty, and sometimes even a little less. Sometimes doesn't even have to be direct sunlight, but for your eyes to be exposed to that natural light, for your skin to get that sunlight, making vitamin D naturally so you don't have to be taking it exclusively. Those two things are going to make a significant difference. And in that mural tour that we took on the bikes, we were just,
it was perfect.
Oh my God, we're eating it up. We're getting plenty of sunlight. We're getting plenty of fresh air and exercise. So we were just like, we were killing it.
Started at 10:30. We were done by 12. So we had several stops along the way, but we're biking along. I think I did about 7.5 miles.
I think that's what
for that. I think that little ride. And
it was perfect.
It was perfect. I mean, a December day when it's 75 degrees, you can't beat that.
Do you think we're going to do that next year too?
We're talking about doing that in 2 or 3 weeks, and we're doing a longer ride. And more murals.
Nice.
Nice. So definitely. I mean, this is the time of year people come from all over the world to bike here, whether it's cycling on the loop or mountain biking in, I don't know, our 50 different trails that we have in Southern Arizona. I mean, people are here from all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I think it's a great idea. And we were talking about this yesterday too, how I don't enjoy cycling by myself. I know that for some people it's okay.
Yeah. I don't mind cycling by myself.
Yeah, no, for me,
Yeah.
I always want to
get the miles in.
Yeah.
It's a personal thing. Yeah, it's a mental thing. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do that.
Yeah.
But I think, going with the group, like it was awesome.
Yeah.
As we were crossing a major roadway, there would be always one of the guys, stopped and kind of ushering everybody along.
Right.
And once everybody's done, then we would go.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love-
Oh, yeah.
And maybe it's because I often would ride with my kids and whatnot, so I would have to make sure that everybody's okay.
Yeah.
And but yeah,
But just the community of it.
Yeah, I
just
love it.
having that big group and having that community of it. Yeah.
And because when you're riding by yourself, sometimes somebody might be distracted on their phone,
Yeah.
might not see you. It's
Yeah.
not that safe. But, it would have to be some crazy situation for you to be with 30 other cyclists and not be seen.
Yeah.
You can't be missed when you're in a group like that.
Yep, definitely. So what does 2025 hold for Hispanic networking, Hispanic growth? What does that look like for you?
Okay. Well, for me in particular, I definitely want to refine Mueve Flex even to another degree. I think I mentioned to you in passing, we're adding new technology, so we're gonna be adding some new treatment modalities for better well-being and for pain relief.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. We're even gonna add a branch of Mueve Flex Beauty, which is going to be focused on improved posture, basically making you more photogenic,
Okay.
teaching people about posture, proper appearance and skin, and even for females, some gentle body sculpting and what's called Frotox, not Botox. And it's not,
Frotox?
it's not Botox, but what it is, it's targeted cryotherapy. So it's going to be like an ice pack, but instead of having an ice pack for 15, 20 minutes, it's going to be like a 2-minute treatment. And so that's going to help a lot with skin firmness and different things. And again, to be very open and honest, we don't have the full certification and training yet, but the goal is that before the end of the year, we'll be completed and certified. And really, that area of Mueve Flex will very likely be Chabela. Bella, my daughter, who has obviously an interest in that area, and because her being a female, I think she'll be more relatable to people. Because honestly, I don't care about crow's feet. I don't care about. I don't do body sculpting and all that.
Yeah.
But I do know that that's important, and
Sure.
And I want to be considerate for those of our clients that take that seriously and they want to take professional headshots, or they want to look really nice for their photo shoot with their daughter at her wedding or whatever.
Yeah.
So different things like that. So we'll have that. We'll have Mueve Flex Beauty, Mueve Flex Kids, which is going to be focused slightly on an alternative approach for some of the achiness or even some of the behavior issues that happen with kids. For Ron Arenas or Dr. Bernal or John Doe, when they have a stiffness in their shoulder, they can express that and
Sure. Get a little grumpy.
Yeah, and you can say that I'm grumpy because I feel a tightness and stiffness here to the left, whatever. A little kid, a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old can't really express that in a very articulate way. They can't articulate that. So what do? They
They
bang
act
things,
out or
they bang things around. So that's going to be the focus. We're going to, give recommendations and just suggestions because, again, we don't do treatment for conditions, but we're going to give health tips, wellness tips on some of the foods that can be avoided, some of the foods that can help.
Okay.
So that'll be Mueve Flex Kids. We'll have Mueve Flex Silver, which is going to be the area of Mueve Flex which focuses on people of...
Is that us?
I didn't want to say that because I don't want to be there yet.
Right.
But us or our parents. And the idea is it's been researched and proven time and time again that one of the biggest health risks or causes of death is falls in people over the age of 80. So we're going to focus on, fall prevention, fall recovery, and different things to strengthen and maintain independence. We want people to be able to get on and off the toilet without any help. We want to make sure we strengthen the key muscles. We want to make sure that people can go to their sink and do whatever they have to do without, feeling like they need to hold on. So that'll be the area that we're focusing on with Mueve Flex Silver and Mueve Flex Sport for athletes of all ages and on all levels, where we're going to help with that injury recovery and return to the field of battle in sports, whatever it is. Again, having been through that, tough fall that I had on my bike, taught me and reminded me about a few things that can be done to speed up recovery. What could have taken 10, 12 weeks to recover, we were able to get it done in about 10 or 12 days.
Nice.
So
Very
again,
good.
and I want to be very clear, that's not typical. We're not promising, you're going to heal from everything in 10 days. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that through Mueve Flex Sport, that area of our 2025, goals is to get people to maximum athletic performance and to the speediest recovery from injuries possible.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're winding down. We just have about a minute left. Can you tell us how people can get a hold of you and
of course.
where they're going to go for Mueve Flex?
Yeah, they can call us at 520-377-2225 or mueveflex.com. That's MUEVE flex.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ron.
This is another episode of Southwest Flavor. We'll see you next time.